All right, guys, listen. The only thing that matters if you subscribe right now or comment or whatever you're doing right now, go to the page. What's the name? Oh, go to the page right now. What's the name? I was talking to my friend right there, the sexy Chauncey the Bear. You know what time it is. There's two of us, and there's two of them, right? Those wrestling girls, there's two of them. Make sure to subscribe, like, watch, enjoy.
Queen P.R, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless. Podcast bringing up women and wrestling. Let's go.
Hey everybody, what's up? We're back. It's your girls, those wrestling girls. It's your girl Krista B
and Queen P.R.
And today we are continuing our Golden Era series. Last episode we did was on the one and only Miss Elizabeth. So We're gonna go from babyface to heel. That was kind of like her arch nemesis.
Like the complete opposite.
So we're definitely gonna talk about the one and only Miss Sensational Sherri today. But before we get into that, y'all know we have to do our check-ins. Y'all know we have to, just catch up with each other. As much as you see P and I on social media, sometimes we'll talk all wrestling, don't even like check in with each other. So P, how you feeling? What's been going on?
I've been really good. Like it's definitely been a very interesting few weeks. There's so many like everyone around me is thriving. Like me and shout out to Letty. We just talked about how like everyone around us, including ourselves, is thriving, like professionally, personally. I see like a lot of growth in a lot of my friends and like even in myself. And I want to keep like riding that wave. Like definitely your brunch panel like definitely inspired me even more to like keep pushing. And so I'm really just feel so thankful and like truly blessed just for the opportunities that he's put in my life, God, and also the love that I have in my life right now, from family to friends to having, finding
your person.
Yes. And yes, finding your person, and appreciating that like sometimes like timing isn't everything. And I had to learn that because I used to be like very impatient. I used to think I was a patient person. I don't know where I got that from, but I always kind of wanted things to happen fast. Like when I graduated college, I expected like that next year to be like in my dream job, and I didn't even know what the fuck that was 10 years ago. And now I feel like I'm like living exactly like what I wanted. So it's like sometimes God has a plan that you're not supposed to know what it is, and you're not supposed to plan it because it's not your fucking plan. So
True.
I am at a time where I am just taking things day by day for once. I am kind of like appreciating that like long-term booking is a great thing, and you just have to be patient.
That's a fact. I love that. I love the fact that you feel that way. I do. I literally be having these outer body experiences, or I really would just sit and speak and be like, yo, all of my friends are literally out here. Like, for some reason, because, Black don't crack. Mm-hmm. I'm still thinking like we're in our 20s. Like, and I'm just like, yo, we got to be happening. You always got to have those group of friends who are always going to keep you grounded, who are always going to make sure that if you're falling, to where they can step in and help you come up and not just live and mooch off of you and suck the energy out of you, because we all know energy is everything.
100%.
Energy is everything. And if you have a person who's draining your energy, you will not be happy. You will always sit there and feel like, miserable with yourself. And it's okay. Like, I've come to a realization, like, it's okay to cut people off or keep people at arm's distance, or tell them how you feel and let them reciprocate how you feel. And if they don't respond in a way where it's gonna better you guys' friendship or relationship or whatever it is, it's okay to cut them off and walk away.
Yep. 100%. And as sad as that is sometimes, because I feel like friendship breakups sometimes are like worse than like romantic breakups. Yeah. And you just have to accept it. Like, and you can own that you miss them, but if they're not bringing that right energy around you, then you just got to clip them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. So for me, I've been really booked, like hosting multiple shows and like, trying to get my not trying, I'm getting myself back in order financially, spiritually, physically, mentally, getting myself back in order. I'm I think I'm gonna take your advice and do another event sometime later this year. I'm not sure what it is yet. Probably like a small like mixer type
Mm,
situation. I don't know yet. I'm getting these ideas. I'm talking to people and getting things in the works that's gonna lead into the big event next year, which is gonna be the third annual
oh my
brunch and
God.
panel.
I can't wait for that.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna take your advice. I mean, you weren't the only one who said do a biannual thing.
Love it.
So yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna do something. So y'all just stay tuned. My creative juices are flowing. I'm
I
back,
love it.
as you guys can see, or if you haven't been following my website, my blog, unapologetically eclectic. I've been doing things all month of June, celebrating Black Music Month, interviewing different artists, like starting a little podcast
Yeah.
interviews. I feel like that's more easier for me instead of like sitting and transcribing. I can already just like have them up. We can speak about it. It's exclusively on my Patreon. I
Love
think it's only like $3, $3 to sign up to get the interview. So it's not that
it. Of
expensive. And it's
course.
gonna be like new interviews dropping probably daily or weekly. The first however they book. So if you have anybody who's in this music industry, or you have a person who wants to be interviewed during Black Music Month, just let them hit me up. I'm here. The link to book an interview is in the bio,
Love it.
and we're just gonna have a good time. We're just gonna rock out, have a good time. It's been so fun this far. So fun this far.
I'm so excited for that. And
Thank
it's
you.
good to do things also like outside of wrestling as well.
Right.
Because like as much as I love it, it's like it can't be like 100% of my life. So
Right. You gotta find yourself. Like me, I found myself a few weeks ago in the tattoo shop.
nah,
Trying to get a new tattoo.
I can't wait to see it in person.
I know, right? Like I was in the sun before, and I was just like, oh, I don't even know if you guys can.
Oh my God, that's so dope. I love that.
It's my Harry Potter
Love
tattoo.
it. It's so cool. I
I
can't wait.
love it. And I was on the phone after I got it. I was like, oh hey, talking to my best friend DJ. I was like, yo, now I got two on one, two on the right, two on the left. I got three on the right, I got three on the left, one on the right. I'm like, oh man.
I forget sometimes, especially now that like it's getting warmer out and like more of my like skin is showing, and people are like, "Oh, like what's that?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Especially
Right.
if they're in places that my tattoos are in places that are not visible to me. So I'm like,
Right.
"What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, that, yeah."
I feel like this one and this one are gonna be the most two visibles because the other one is on my side, and
Yeah.
the one on the back of my leg is gonna be visible because I wear shorts and dresses in the summertime.
Yeah.
So
Oh, shout out
those
to
three will be
our New
visible.
York finally getting here because we are going to be outside. Oh, that's a good place to start to talk about Black Wrestle Fest.
Girl, I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm like really excited.
I'm excited too because we are actually doing live podcast that day during Black Wrestle Fest. We are going to be on Podcast Row.
Shout out.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I feel like the first person we have to get because she's going to be there
Mm-hmm.
is Big Swole.
Oh, of course. Oh my
We
God.
have to get her.
I'm literally writing that down, and we're gonna make that happen.
Make that happen.
Yeah.
We have to.
So, for those that don't know what Black Wrestle Fest is, it is going to be a Black wrestling convention hosted by Pretty Hill. Shout out to Danny and her amazing team. They have put in a lot of work the last few months putting it together, and we are going to be a part of Podcast Row, which is going to be really exciting with other dope podcasts. So that's Juneteenth weekend, June 18th and 19th in Brooklyn. So this is definitely something you want to, if you can, come to New York for at least one of the 2 days. And if not, please check out the website. There's a lot of different things happening. There's a wrestling rap battle, a wrestling
I can't wait for that.
tournament,
I can't wait for that.
Q&A, wrestling game shows, meet and greets, in-ring experiences, promo photos and promo battles, a party bus to the Pro Wrestling Vibe Show. And that is, I feel like they're adding things as we go along, because I'm reading, the flyer that I had. Like, it's going to be one of those events that you're not going to want to miss, especially if you are a Black person that likes wrestling.
We should take pictures, like professional pictures, and have like on a postcard or something, so that when we're there, we can like sign them and give them out for those who want them.
Right.
But we'll talk about that sideline, because we can't give y'all all our ideas.
I know, right? Come to the convention. It's going to be really fun. And I don't know, I think it was Danny who tweeted it, who said, like, we are doing family reunions all year long. Like, I think it all started from like Jobber Slam last summer, and then us doing our meetups in New York and our anniversary party, and then now us getting more into the indie scene. And this event is definitely a part of that growth in that next chapter for those wrestling girls, which I'm really excited, because I always wanted to do like more events and like
same.
But yeah, like and with your hosting, so I feel like this is a really exciting event, and it's definitely like the kickoff to like new shit, new things, new chapter.
Absolutely, definitely here for it. So now that we're all checked in and we're all caught up with each other, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna jump right into this episode of Sensational Sherri.
It's me, Queen P.R, one half of those wrestling girls, and our friends over at Ripple Junction want us to remind you that all of our favorite designs, including this Roy's War shirt, have gotten relaunched in new designs and a variety of new colors. And you can get a t-shirt for all your favorite fandoms, whether it's The Office, your favorite movies, your favorite brands. There's everything over at Ripple Junction. And don't forget to use the code Those Wrestling Girls to save 15% off. So what are you waiting for? Go on Ripple Junction, use those code Those Wrestling Girls, and post your shirts on social media and tag Ripple Junction.
All right, y'all, we're back. And of course, like I said, we're definitely talking about the Sensational Sherri. We started off with Miss Elizabeth last time. So this time we're talking about Sensational Sherri. And if you guys who were raised in the golden era, you already know the dynamic between these two women. Mm-hmm. Those who were raised in Attitude Era, but you decided to do your history and to do your research on the golden era, you grew to love how they played out on screen. It sucked that it didn't carry on into Attitude Era like we thought it would be. Mm-hmm. We hoped it would be. Well, not at that time, but probably now, because at that time we were just so enthralled in Attitude Era. They couldn't do no wrong in our eyes. But I feel like if I had to choose during that time, like who team I would be on, mm-hmm. I want to say I'm Team Sherri.
I definitely would be Team Sherri, because I always felt like she was ahead of her time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the women, I can't wait to do Alundra Blaze, because they were the total package. Like, since Sherri could wrestle, she was good on the mic, she had personality, she can keep up with the boys and in the ring, outside of the ring, and we'll get to that too. So I think she had it all. She always looked good, and if she was being scary Sherri, she was scary. If she was being sensational, she was sensational. And also, I can't wait to touch on just her rub on tag teams and upcoming stars, and how her being their manager is a sign that, like, okay, you're going to be elevated to the next level. And the fact that this is a female manager doing this, I think is great, because everyone talks about Miss Elizabeth, the first lady of wrestling. She's beautiful. She's poised. She was a part of very important storylines, but Sherri was in the mix. She was taking bumps. She again was like a women's champion. Like, she was a wrestler first. So what was your first impression of her? Because of course, we weren't really she wasn't in the Attitude Era, but when you discovered her, what was your...
I think my very first impression of Sensational Sherri is when she came back in 2006 or 7, and this is when Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels was having their feud. Mm-hmm. And Sensational Sherri had came back, and she started singing the girl's part on Shawn Michaels' theme song, the yelling and whatnot. I'm like, was it really her doing it before, And then I would see I feel like what also really got me into Sensational Sherri, or my first memory of her, was when, of course, that infamous turning on Macho Man, and Miss Elizabeth jumped in the ring and kicked her ass, and that was really my first oh well, she a traitor.
Yeah.
Like all she wanted was the money, the fame, the spotlight. She wanted to be on top. She's the gold digger, and you could tell, you can see it. And I love how it played off in the like I must say in the movie. Yeah, right. I love how it played off in the like on screen, like especially at the pay-per-view that they did that at. It was just amazing. So for me to see her in that light, but then I kind of feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but like you said, we grew up in an attitude era, so we really don't know as much. But like storylines after that, I kind of feel like she kind of fell off after that. And that's
Yeah.
my opinion. Maybe because I didn't like look into it anymore, because going back to the Macho Man documentaries and stuff that I've seen, it was just like, oh yeah, I'm Miss Elizabeth. Like I'm a sucker for love. So it's just like I love to see the true storylines and stuff behind that. So I was like, all right, Sherri, you out of here, bye.
Yep. Yep. For sure. I think that was my first introduction to her, is how she played a role in the whole Miss Elizabeth Macho Man, reuniting kind of thing, and her being the complete opposite of Miss Elizabeth and a part of Macho Man turning heel again, with her as manager. So, and then I just always admired like women who can be, especially at that time, the fact that, or like I like Luna Vachon, like how they could be like, intense and like aggressive and strong and just like scream into the camera just as aggressively as the men. Like I really admire that. Like looking back, and then just learning more about the business and being like, okay, well, she was one of the toughest people, so then I'm like, okay, this is someone that I think, then getting more into it, like definitely had her time, definitely someone who I feel like her legacy doesn't get talked about enough, so
It
that's why
doesn't.
I'm excited,
I feel like,
but she was also a wrestler.
right. I feel like her legacy, people somewhat tarnish it because of her lifestyle, like the lifestyle she lived after wrestling or maybe during. But at the same time, some of the things that she was doing during that time, the men were doing it too.
Mhm.
And a lot of them, their legacies is like through the roof. Oh
Right.
yeah, legend, this, that, and the third. I don't is Was she posthumously entered into the Hall of Fame? Like, is she a Hall of Famer?
She is a. Let me find
Where
out.
my Hall of Fame book?
Right.
Let me find my Hall of
So
Fame
she was
book.
inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2006 by Ted DiBiase.
Oh, so she was alive when she got her.
Yes, she
Okay.
was, and she absolutely deserves that. I would have been upset to learn that she wasn't because of everything she did. So let's like go into her history.
Yeah.
With how she got into wrestling, because before she was an iconic manager, she was so she inquired about wrestling in 1974 when she was 16. So it's also interesting to a lot of people at a very young age, you want to be a wrestler. Like that one of those things where it's like you watch it and you hear wrestlers talk about it, and it's like, that's what I want to do. And she went to Jake the Snake's father, and he was like, come back in 5 years, and she did, and she came back, and she ended up wrestling under Fabulous Moolah, like most female wrestlers during that time.
Ooh,
And
if she could tell that story, right?
I'm like, I wonder what that experience was like, especially
Right.
learning how Moolah treated her wrestlers.
And the fact that she went to Jake the Snake's father, we already know that ain't.
That's another thing.
That's another thing. So it was just like, oof, wow. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, but it also, no, you're good. Like, it also makes you think of what women have to tolerate to be in that business. And I can't help but think of like that Dark Side of the Ring of like the Plane Ride from Hell, and how Terry had to no sell
Yeah,
shit, borderline sexual harassment. And that's in the early 2000s. So imagine what it's like in this wild ass 70s, 80s, even like 90s for these women. So they had to really love the business and have thick skin to get where Sherri got, especially with some of the people she's encountered, like Jake the Snake's father, the fabulous Moolah, But a Moolah will if you're a female wrestler in the business, you got to go through her at some point.
It sucks, but you're right.
Yeah.
And it's bad because learning about Moolah and May, or being introduced to them in Attitude Era and King's commentary about them all the time, it was very funny. But then you learn his history, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, and they let her come back. But then, like I said, the attitude era was just this shameless, unapologetic, crass. Like, it was just everything you wanted it to be and more. Now you go back, and it's cringeworthy. Some of it. It is cringeworthy. And I'm just like, damn, why couldn't Sensational Sherri instead of, I think she go to WCW as well? Like they all made that jump.
She ends up going to WCW at some point, and her partying definitely ends up playing a role in like the course of her career. And I feel like that is probably one of the things that maybe held her back. But again, the point that we always make is like women, like Sherri was doing what the men were doing. And they are always held at a higher standard, which is so unfortunate. But yeah,
I feel like some of these men feel very inferior to women, especially in wrestling world, not even just in WWE, wrestling in general, because you have these women who come out and you have these women who show up, show out. You have the EST on your walls. Like, you have Becky, look at the blood on her face. You have people like Luna, and Luna story is so sad and so heartbreaking. You have people like Sherri Martel, Alundra Blaze. Miss Elizabeth didn't really fight too much or at all, if any at all. I don't believe so. Who else? Her name is escaping me, but she was definitely a pivotal moment in
Richter.
Yes, Wendy Richter. Like, you have these women who've come out and showed out and performed and got big pops and applause. And it's just like, once a man gets a whiff,
threatened,
they're intimidated, threatened.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we got to put them somewhere else. Like,
they don't want to be outshined by a woman. But one thing I have noticed, just like listening to shoot interviews and people behind the scenes, is, you know, Sherri, like Moolah and like Luna and a lot of the women we mentioned, they did have the respect to be in this business. Like, they were like, you know, that's a tough ass woman. You know, Martel was sent to Japan. Sherri Martel was like sent to Japan, and I think that's really where you learn, like, you know, what the toughness of this business, I think.
So Japan is, I was watching New Japan Pro a few weeks ago, and I was just like, my stomach can't handle this.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Not right now. It's crazy, but I understand, like, it definitely will build tougher skin. It would definitely build that stamina. It would definitely take you to a whole nother level, especially when you come back to America to fight, to be in an American promotion. It will definitely build you up. So for you to be sent out there in the 80s when wrestling was just starting to become something out there, something amazing. Yeah,
for sure. So she ended up getting kicked out of Moolah school for like her partying. But she ends up wrestling in AWA. She becomes women's champion 3 times, which is, you know, to say you're a 3-time women's champion, I think, especially at that time, is pretty awesome.
History making, it's groundbreaking.
Yeah, for sure. And that was, you know, in the 80s, and she ended up going to WWE, WWF at the time, and she beat Moolah for her first WWF Women's Championship in 1987.
Nice, as she should.
Full circle,
definitely full circle. And then from there, you know, she held it for 15 months. So she held it for a year, 3 months.
I mean,
that's a long time.
Of Moolah, and the era of just the fact that the women's championship was in existence for 15 months and it was like defended, like,
right,
that's huge.
Well, we don't know if it was defended, because look how long Moolah held it without being no defense.
Well, it said that she defended against Debbie Combs, Velvet McIntyre. We should do something on her too. And
I feel like Velvet McIntyre is Jake the Snake's sister.
I really believe that too.
I think that because remember, she didn't want that family name because who her father was and how it was. So I feel like that's Jake the Snake's sister. You guys can definitely correct us if we're wrong, but I feel like Velvet McIntyre. And then watching their Dark Side, it was just like, y'all all related.
No, so Velvet McIntyre is you're thinking of Rockin' Robin, actually.
That's what I'm thinking about. Okay.
And that's who she dropped the title to in October 1988. So that's very, very cool how that like worked out.
So we should do like a series on these women, because I've
should.
never heard of Debbie Combs and Velvet
Right.
McIntyre and Desiree Peterson. Never heard of them.
Same. I think it would be cool to do a like real talk episode on the women that were covered in Dark Side of the Ring. That would be cool.
That would
Like,
be
Miss
amazing.
Elizabeth, Moolah, Rockin' Robin, Luna. Okay, cool. So
Listen, that's Patreon content, y'all. But definitely, so Sherri dropped the belt to Rockin' Robin, and then we just started to see her in a whole nother realm, a whole nother role.
she was more of like a manager.
She became a manager.
Moving forward, because the championship gets discontinued at one point in WWF, and it really wasn't about females wrestling at a certain time. So she was definitely transitioned to the manager role, and people say she's one of the greatest. I would agree with this statement that she's one of the greatest managers, ever. Like the people that she's been associated with, the careers that she's jump started in, like WWE, ECW, WCW. She even did a little bit in TNA. So I'm excited to get into that part of her career.
Same. Yeah. You want to do a quick break first? Or you just want to go into it?
Let's take a quick break and then we'll jump right back into it.
All right, cool.
Hi everyone, it's me, Queen P.R, one half of those wrestling girls, and I'm here to remind you that I'm a proud brand ambassador for Birdie B, the clothing and lifestyle brand founded by WWE Hall of Famers Nikki and Brie Bella. And what I love most about the brand is that it's gender inclusive, it's body image positive, and there are a lot of unique pieces with new drops every Thursday. And I personally like to dress these pieces up and down for the gym, for brunch with the girls, for a day night out. There really is something for everyone. So make sure you post your outfits with Birdie B using the hashtag YourBirdieB, and follow Birdie B on all platforms. There's always a sale going on, new drops every Thursday, and I hope to see your unique looks.
We're back, and this is the moment I feel like P's been waiting for, right? Like she's very excited to learn that Sherri Martel was definitely a wrestler in her early stages of her career. Mm-hmm. But now P's about to be like, I think I'm gonna have to let her talk about Sherri Martel's managerial skills, because
she was just this is her. Fun. Like she was so good, and like when I think of like the golden era of like the 80s, and how the men were like these larger than life characters. They like yelled and they were huge and they were, almost not real. Like Hulk Hogan was a superhero, like at some point. So the fact that there were women that were in the mix of that and like were holding their own with them and being just as like explosive as a macho man, and Sherri brought that, and I always appreciated that about her. That's why I always say she was so ahead of her time, because she had everything. Like she wrestled, she was good on the mic, she was able to manage, she can do color commentary, she can, because she's a wrestler, she can take bumps. So she was like what Miss Elizabeth like kind of contributed, but like to like a whole nother level for me. So of course that's I think her most notable contribution is, WrestleMania 5 and them becoming heels together, and then the whole Miss Elizabeth thing. But I think one of the other things she'll most be noted for is what she did for Shawn Michaels' career.
Yeah, because of the song.
Right.
The song. Although, like, at first I'm just like, I promise you, I wasn't today years old when I knew that Shawn Michaels recorded his own song, but I was kind of like maybe about 22, 23. Because it's just like you hear the and then you just go crazy. Like you don't even care who's singing the damn song. Like you just go crazy. But then, like I said, I was 2006, 7. Well, how old was I? Like 16, 17. So it was just like, and I saw her like in the ring singing the song and whatnot. And I'm just like, oh, that's her on there. That's when 2 and 2 clicked. That's when 2 and 2 made 4.
Right.
About the song and her. But yeah, she has done a lot for Shawn Michaels' career. Was he? No, he wasn't her first manager. Like he wasn't her first client. I'm saying.
I think it was probably like Macho Man. And
yeah, it was Macho Man.
Other people here or there, if I'm not mistaken. But
I just want to know what that conversation was like.
Right. Exactly.
Like, whoever was there, that conversation on, I think we should put you in a managerial role. I
Right.
wonder if it was played into because there weren't enough females for her to fight,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or it proved like she proved that she can literally stand toe to toe with these dudes, no matter big, small, fat, skinny, ugly, whatever. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
just want to know what that conversation was like, and if they really saw that in her,
Mm-hmm.
because they knew that she was a hot commodity, so they did not want her to leave.
Right.
So you got to find a place for her.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they was just like they felt like they struck gold when they made her a manager.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they definitely saw that because, and so she actually managed Ted DiBiase before, um, she was partnered with Shawn Michaels, and that's another larger than life main staple in the golden era time. So, and I can see them working together because Sensational Sherri, Scary Sherri is she's not afraid to do whatever she needs to do to win a match. So she fit right in with that. So I appreciated that as well. Like looking back at clips and just like reading some of the people she shared a ring with, Roddy Piper, even like the Ultimate Warrior. Like she worked with everyone. She's worked in Madison Square Garden. And again, these are things that didn't come easy at that time for men. Like that was a cutthroat, very few opportunities. And then as a woman, you're like featured on that stage, which I loved. But with Shawn Michaels, and he credits her all the time, like all his documentaries and everything that he talks about. He always says how being partnered with her when he went solo after turning on Marty Jannetty and he took on this heartbreak kid persona. Sherri was a huge part of that. Huge
I could
part.
see it.
Yeah.
He's breaking into the business. He just turned heel. So why not have one of the ultimate heels in
Right.
your corner?
Right.
Like Sherri Martel is definitely the ultimate heel. She will always carry that. So from after, helping Shawn Michaels launch his career, things started to slow down for her in WWE. They were going in a different direction. So she ended up leaving in 1993 and signed to ECW, where she became the manager of Shane Douglas. And we already know how ECW kind of played out.
Right.
It didn't last too long. And then from there, she left ECW. She's only there for like a year, maybe however many months. And then she signed with WCW in 1994. And that's when she worked along another famous heel, a bad guy, if you will.
Yes.
A bad guy, y'all, not the bad guy.
Right.
Don't want y'all to say I don't know my wrestling stuff. A bad guy in Ric Flair, Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Right. Yeah.
And then she became the manager to Harlem Heat.
Yes.
I feel like that was like one of her most pivotal moments.
I
Harlem Heat.
I totally agree. And I think that the fact that when you want to, like, basically seeing Sherri as the rub, like knowing that, okay, we want to elevate you, we're going to put you with Sherri, like with Shawn Michaels, and everybody knows what he ended up becoming. We talked about Ted DiBiase, another Hall of Famer. We're talking about Harlem Heat, Booker T. They are Hall of Famers. We watched them get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
We did. We was there for that.
We definitely was there for that. So, and she's a part of that. And again, you can't tell Harlem Heat's story without talking about Sensational or Scary Sherri or Sister Sherri.
She was Sister Sherri at that time.
Me and Letty think that's hilarious. But so the fact that she was pivotal in these, wrestlers becoming huge stars, and it's based on the rub, and it kind of makes you think too, because you think of the years that we're talking about, 93, 94, things were just about to pop for the Attitude Era, like you said earlier. And she, I believe, like a lot of other talents at that time, was their own worst enemy, where the partying and just the toll this business takes on you and what you have to do to cope. I think she was one of those people that absolutely was a victim of that and would have done so much more than what we're talking about now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Given that she had that rub, as you said, Harlem Heat went on to win 7 tag team titles. Like they won the tag team title 7 times. in WCW before leaving the company. And then after, that disbanded, she ended up being on the independent scene, on the independent circuit, in the early 2000s. Then she came back 2005, like I mentioned earlier, where she was just like part of this storyline with Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels, because it was just like, why not? Like, you have Shawn Michaels, who came back rehabilitated after his back injury, and I believe him and Triple H already had their feud, and which was fucking amazing, like
Yeah,
one of
really.
the best feuds, hands down. And then you go from all of that to go have a feud with Kurt Angle right after Kurt Angle hair was shaved, head was
Mhm.
shaved, and then to have Sensational Sherri come back and sing her original part on the song after Kurt Angle tried to make a mockery of the song in his own way. It was like a breath of fresh air to see, because during that time, we were in high school, so we really weren't watching
Right.
wrestling at that time. It was just like that awkward stage is like, okay, well, we in high school now. Like, why are we sitting here watching? We adults at this point. Like,
Right.
wrestling's for kids. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Um, and it was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. It really
Um,
see her
which
back.
it was good, and that actually led into the match in WrestleMania 21.
Yeah, it really did. And then even having like the spoof that Kurt Angle did of the song, because Sherri sang the Sexy Boy entrance song, so tying that into it. And I also can't help but think, talking about it, because it's like the mid 2000s now, is like we're now introducing Sherri to that next generation. So now
Mhm.
people can see, no one knew, it's tragic that her career and life ended so early. We didn't know that at the time. So it's good that people got to see, she got to mix it up with like that next generation of stars, with the Kurt Angles, and fans got to learn who she was, and she was able to do what she does best. And I mean, that's what's so cool about wrestling, is how fun is that? Like, all these years later, Shawn Michaels comes back as a completely different person, having grown as a person and being sober and all this stuff. And now he's mixing it up with Kurt Angle, who's like that next level, GOAT basically. And then bringing back that female legend to be a part of it, and it be awesome, and it works, and it ties in together, is like, I'm glad that was able to happen when it did,
Mhm.
for sure.
So after that, in the epic WrestleMania 21 match, Sherri was inducted into Hall of Fame in 2006 by Ted DiBiase, her first client, which was another full circle moment for
It
her.
really was. It
What,
really
who
was.
who better than, right?
Right.
Inducted her. She's enshrined in the Hall of Fame forever.
Yeah.
And then after that, she makes what we would know it as her final TV appearance in TNA, when she was with Bobby Roode.
Yep.
And nobody knew, like, that would have been her last appearance.
Right. And just also just like just wrestling coming full circle, him, Bobby Roode ending up going to WWE. Is he still doing anything? Bobby Roode, or whatever.
He pops up with Dolph Ziggler every now and again, but it's just like, what are you doing, to be honest?
Right, exactly. I feel you on that one. But yeah, so she definitely had, for a short career, and having died so young the following year after getting inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2007, is remarkable. But again, you can't help but think, there could have been so much more that she could have done, especially when women are doing more in general, So I'm interested to see like what her legacy will be now that more women are getting into wrestling, and um when they go back and see, what Sensational Sherri, contribute to the business, like what are they going to take from her? What qualities, do you think that they can learn from Sherri?
I feel like what they can learn from her is definitely, in the words of my good sis Ty, standing in your power.
Yeah.
Because she literally entered the room, commanded it, like demanded it. Everything was for her. Even if it wasn't for her, she made it for her. She took up her space. Period.
Yeah.
But I feel like what they can learn from her is like making sure your character is either relevant. Well, it's always going to be relevant, whether you're a heel or baby face. As long as you're getting those reactions as long as you because you see in her like it was a genuine thing, like she genuinely loved being in wrestling, like being a part of these promotions. You can see it, especially Golden Era coming back. It is tragic to see she passed away at the age of 49 in 2007.
So young.
It just would have been so dope. Like I could see her now if she wants to get back in wrestling, like even her being some type of coach or mentor to a lot of these women, especially in the NXT brand, bringing them up, having some type of creative say in what to do or how to deal with these women properly.
Right.
Because coming from her experience, I'm pretty sure the way that she would want them dealt with is the way she would have wanted it to be dealt with when it was her turn, when she was like in the spotlight. So that's what I see like her legacy being.
I agree. I think anyone can, especially if you want to be a manager. If you want to have it all, the whole package, you want to be able to wrestle, but then also fall back on being a manager. Definitely study Sensational Sherri, Scary Sherri, whatever, and study her character work. Study how she, again, holds her own with these larger than life male characters. She holds her own. And again, she's not afraid to go there. She's not afraid to take a bump. So if you want to get into that, I think you should definitely study her. I think you should also learn from just her wrestling skills as well, of just having the whole package and being like unapologetic about, being scary, being able to be Scary Sherri, being able to, be aggressive. And, I want to say the word ugly, but that has such a negative connotation. But like Sherri will yell in your face, and she will, like she can have a beautiful gown on and will be mixing it up and not
telling you how it is.
Yep. I'm thinking of like her and Dusty Rhodes mixing up together. She literally has worked with mostly all the legends at some point too. So she's definitely someone I think who I'm glad that we are giving her this spotlight, and, because her contribution is definitely appreciated for sure.
I agree. Well, we would love to thank you all for joining us on this episode of The Legacy of Sensational Sherri. Please make sure you follow us on all of our platforms, Those Wrestling Girls Everywhere. Subscribe to our Patreon and our YouTube. And please make sure that you join us at Black Wrestle Fest that's happening this weekend. Definitely show up, pop up. Let's take pictures. Be there for the live interviews that we're doing. We're going to have so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. So we just want y'all to show up. On that note, it's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen P.R.
And we're out of here. Bye.
Bye. That was good.
Queen P.R, Krista B, Those Wrestling Girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless. Podcast bringing up women and wrestling. Let's go.